Good morning, everybody. I wanted to make a video and I want to talk about what is happening in the world right now and how I will position myself in order to profit from what is happening. And there are some fundamental changes that I will make, not because I want to, but because it is super important to follow fundamentals and actually understanding what this can lead to in the long run. So what we're seeing now is US crude oil, WTI. On the weekly chart, we broke out of a 4-year downtrend. This is not only bullish in terms of the technical analysis, but also what is happening with Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is still closed. 20% of oil supply is basically capped, and it's stuck. We have also seen interceptions where Iran has been bombing oil tankers. And of course, we have news that President Trump just came out saying that they will use the US Navy in order to escort out these oil tankers and other shipments there. So if that happens and Iran stands by their words, they will attack. Something big can happen. Even bigger can happen because, of course, what's happening already is very, very big. But this is something fundamentally that is changing my thesis for this year. I'm still no longer super, super bullish as I was. Of course, I'm not going to be the guy that just changed my mind because something happened in the market. I do believe still that everybody should invest in the S&P 500, for example. However, there are a lot of things telling us right now in the market that the S&P 500, the Nasdaq might not have a good year. I'm not saying it won't do a good year in terms of 10, 15%. However, I do believe that it would be much lower, maybe 5% this year or something like that, depending on what is happening, of course. And first of all, the bullish things that we still have this year is Kevin Warsh, the new chairman of Fed, will be installed in May. Jerome Powell is gone, although Jerome Powell has been very, very good for the economy. It would be very interesting to see Kevin Warsh because he's a very pro, strong dollar. He wants rate cuts. And frankly speaking, I don't know how that's going to work out because if you want to lower rate cuts, that means people will be taking loans and companies will be taking loans, refinancing, and it will create more money into the system, which will spur inflation. And at the same time, you want a strong dollar. Inflation basically means a weak dollar. So with those fundamental things, I do believe that we will have some issues. But for now, most of you who are in the Discord, you know that I bought USO, for example, already last week. And today is Friday, and most of you know that the US and President Trump, they like to do things on Friday evenings, European time, after the market is closed, and especially during weekends. So a lot of things can happen this weekend. It's set for the US to use the B-2 stealth bombers, etc., and totally obliterate. And that's not my words. That's Secretary of War and the other leading people in America saying that. USO broke out as well of a 4-year trend, similar to WTI crude oil, and it is looking very, very good. We just reached $100 in the pre-market, and $100, like 1, 10, 100, 1,000, it's a psychological number. So being above 100 is fantastic, and these stocks that are reaching $100 tend to go to 120 very fast. And with the fundamentals, with everything that's happening around the world, with oil being up 6.6% right now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see $120 by Monday or Tuesday. By next week, anywhere from Monday to Friday. Because it's still a 20% increase, depending on what's happening around the world. But what is worth to notice is the following, and this is where I am changing my thesis a little bit. So if we look into we'll go over this. So if we look at Ray Dalio's 2026 playbook, I've talked about this before, and although hedge funds tend to not even beat the S&P 500, this really aligns with what is happening around the world right now. So what he have said is the thesis. 2025's real story was dollar devaluation. U.S. assets underperformed globally. Gold 65%. S&P 500 underperformed Europe by 23%. Expected equity return 4.7%. Negative risk premium versus bonds at 4.9%. Not much juice left to squeeze. And he have said buy. And of course, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing my analysis and everything that I'm seeing in the market. He have said that gold and gold miners like GLD, GDX, gold, NEM, highest conviction, geopolitical hedge plus currency debasement. So what is happening around gold, although it is going down a little bit now, which is very strange. It should go up, but of course the dollar is going up, so gold naturally goes down. But what is happening around the world right now is that Europe itself and EU specifically, and the EU countries are going together, and they are talking about going away from the United States a little bit when it comes to trade, not necessarily defense, but collaborations. And we have basically united European countries. So it looks like a lot of countries, or this could be a start of European countries and other countries around the world moving away from the US. That means less trade, that means less value in the United States, and a currency debasement. So that means that gold naturally goes up, because if the dollar, who has already went down 10% in the last year, if the dollar is going down, gold naturally goes up because it's traded in the currency pair XAU USD. So gold is always a long term for me. I've held gold for the better part of my investing career, 1 decade as of for now. And I strongly believe still that gold is very, very valuable. It is always valuable. Everybody knows it. When there are chaos in the market and geopolitical tensions, investors goes to gold. Also defense stocks, LMT, Lockheed Martin, RTX, NOC. These are the biggest names in the industry. And of course, I don't have them individually. I do invest in defense stocks, like you know. Honda's is one of my favorites. And of course, XAR, the State Street Defense and Aerospace ETF. And then energy, XOM, CVX, so Chevron. With this being said, this really fits the narrative and what is happening around the world right now. Although gold is going down a little bit because of the recent push in oil, gold is a hedge against inflation. And this is super important because with energy prices going up, first of all, with oil prices going up and gas prices going up, that means energy prices. Energy prices is already going up. We see gas in Europe is up 70 to 90% already in, 2 weeks, 1.5 weeks. And with energy prices going up, that means higher cost for companies to produce. It will lead to producers increasing their profits, increasing their prices in order to maintain their profits, which will lead to to higher prices in the stores in virtually anything, but mostly food and consumer goods. So food, energy prices, etc. So that means basically inflation. When inflation is high, that means that the currency is weak. Gas prices, energy prices, food prices are going up. And that's what I see could happen right now, because we also have from this guy, as of for now at $80, the CPI inflation is set to be around 2.9%. So inflation is already going up, and it will happen. If oil hits $95, 3.2, 110, 3.5, etc. Either way, inflation is going up. And this is not good news, because although we will have a new chairman of Fed, he's not stupid. Okay, and what we have learned from Jerome Powell um, with the rate cuts and when it comes to monetary policy is that inflation is the number one, together with employment, of course, is the number one reason for him and the Fed not lowering interest rates earlier. And once they cut interest rates, they didn't do it by a lot. They did it by 25 basis points each time, 3 times. So a total of 75 basis points. So with inflation going up, I don't see a good reason to do rate cuts. I mean, it would have been better if they did a jumbo rate cut in November, December, but they didn't. So inflation will most likely go up. Inflation takes time to get away with because we still have tariffs. Keep that in mind, although it's a global 15% tariff. So it is very, very scary times in the market. And with all this being said, what I wanted to say with my strategy changing a little bit is that I won't focus on the S&P 500 for a long time now. I do believe that something like what I have right here will be remaining for the next couple months, maybe half year, maybe 1 year. It will be within this range for a long period of time. And of course, if you're a trader, you could potentially short here and you can potentially go long here. But I am limiting my exposure towards S&P 500, not because I don't believe in it, because it gives you an average annual return of 10 to 13% every single year. But I do believe that in the meantime, you can make a lot of money and we can make a lot of money in other assets. So I will be trimming down my S&P 500 exposure a little bit. And this is not financial advice. It's simply me sharing what I do and my fundamental analysis and technical analysis. So I will be trimming down my position in S&P 500. And I will look towards inflation hedges like gold, like silver, oil, that is, of course, going up right now. And of course, in my Discord, I already shared this breakout, and we have bought USO, for example, that also had this phenomenal breakout and is now at $100. I also believe that gold in the long run will still go up a lot because, as you know, if inflation is going up, that means a weak dollar, and that means basically a strong gold. And everybody knows millionaires, billionaires, trillionaires, those who run the world, they know that a safe haven is gold, and it's anti-inflationary. So with that being said, there's also this guy. I can't remember his name. The guy that posted 2020 that there will be an Iran war, and he also have said now that UFOs will be discussed, and also that potentially Goldman Sachs, no, Deutsche Bank will crash. I will try to find this guy. I know I have it in the Discord. Let's see if I can find it. We have news. Let's see if I can find him. Okay, I can't find him. I can't find him right now. However, worth to mention as well that I will do right now. As we see with Quiver Quantitative, it is a Twitter account, and they have this website where they track politicians' purchases and potential sales in the market. And it is just came out 14 hours ago that the new choice of DHS Secretary Marco Mullen has been pretty prolific stock trader because last month he bought Raytheon and Chevron. And what we have seen here, now this is very late news, but he bought RTX Raytheon a long time ago. And we have also seen just now in February, another representative bought stocks in Raytheon. So I will be following politicians. I will be buying Raytheon myself, or in case I find an ETF that has it, I will buy that. But I strongly believe that you should follow the big money. These people tend to always do profit, and it is Raytheon is arguably one of the greatest defense companies out there, and it could perform very, very well this year. So I believe that oil will still go up, not only because of the fundamentals with war and geopolitical tensions, but also because we broke out of a 4-year downtrend. So I wouldn't be surprised to see $100 oil by next week. Of course, everything depends on how this war plays out, what is happening, how it escalates, de-escalates, etc. But people are expecting $100. And Financial Times, New York Times, just came out with a headline as well, talking about that $200 barrel oil could happen. Not that you should take anything for granted, but the discussions are already out there, and it's spreading very, very fast. So I believe $100 is next, and that would spur inflation like never before. And gold, defense stocks will be the main theme of this year. So therefore, I am limiting and I am trimming my S&P 500 exposure, and I'm going more into oil, gold, defense stocks. So that's a very short video of what is happening around the world right now in the market. If you see this on YouTube, there is a free Discord in my link and in my bio, in the description and in my bio. We have now 1,300 members, so feel free to join. I also have a VIP Discord with a 3 days free trial as of for now. So go ahead and click that link and join for free. And let's make some money together. And I hope that everybody is safe. Every single one of you, your family, your friends, your relatives are safe. And I hope that this war can end very, very soon. So guys, take care and see you in the Discord.